Greetings and salutations, my artsy friends. Hey, Jamie, how are you? Nice to see ya. Hi, Carol. So nice to see you here this morning. I hope that everybody is ready to get a little art on this morning. I sure am. I have some cool techniques I want to share with you today. And then hopefully we'll have a little time for some card creating, some card building, because I have a lot of art and I need to make them into cards, if you know what I mean. So let's get started. Hi, Victoria. You're brand new here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I would love it if you would follow and like and Corbiere-Scott Designs on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. That is the way to kind of know what's going on in the artsy world of Corbiere-Scott Designs. And if you would ask to join our private Facebook group, Let's Get Artsy with Anne Corbiere-Scott, that then you get on my email distribution list. I send a little email every Friday, and it's way more words than text, or excuse me, pictures than text. But then you'll know what's coming up, what's happening in the next week, and the dates and times and that kind of thing. And there's always some artsy inspiration on there. And one of the questions to join our private Facebook group is I ask for your email address. And so once you do that, then you're on our email distribution, our little newsletter distribution list. So let's see, what else do I have to talk to you about? There is still time to join the giveaway for the mental health awareness Instagram hop and giveaway. I'm so proud to be one of the sponsors of that giveaway, and so many other amazing manufacturers and companies are donating so many cool, really cool prizes, and it's just all bringing more awareness to mental health struggles, right? So I put it out on my social media again this morning. You just need to follow me, and then you can tag friends that you want to follow me, and for each friend you suggest and post, then that is an entry into the drawing. So you know, the chances are good that you could win a prize. Be sure to check your social media for an artsy surprise on Saturday. Remember, you just never know what it'll ever be. It could be a printable, it could be a surprise pop-in paint party, it could be, you never know. Let's see, Bible journaling will open up today. I just have to scan everything and then get it posted. So it will go up today. Oh, don't forget, there's still time to join Whimsical Lettering if you'd like to try that on Saturday. You'll sign up for that on my website, Corbiere-Scott-Designs.com. That's where all of my printables and my artsy classes are located. So I had talked on, remember we had done these on Tuesday where we had created a background on a piece of copy paper and a piece of cardstock. So I wanted to share a couple of ways that we could enhance these. So remember I told you, like, when it goes through, this was pretty wrinkly, but when it goes through the printer, that flattens it out pretty good. So this is the one on copy paper, and this is the one on cardstock. And so I talked about, I had a new tool that I wanted to play with, and here it is. It's the Clean Color Real Brush. Oh, ink all over me. Clean Color Real Brush water-based blender. And so I thought this would be a great opportunity to play with it and play with it with all of you. So I'm going to, so a couple of ways that we could use it, right? So we could pull color right from there. Do you see it on the end? And then we can deepen right where our stippling is. And that's going to blend out really nicely. So that's a cool thing to do. I'm really liking that. And I will tell you, I'm really digging this. If you, especially if you are, like I'm thinking for my upcoming trip for travel, this will be perfect because I get a nice blend without water. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes you just aren't able to have water with you, and sometimes maybe you want just a more subtle blend. So give this a try. I think it was under $5. So I know Scraps of Love had a bunch of them. So I'm using the, oh, I should have said. So I'm using the, remember we used oxides on Tuesday, and so I'm using the Distress ink, but in the same color as the oxide that I used on Tuesday. So I am really digging this, you guys. Like, this is really giving me a nice, subtle, and when I do my jiggy jaggy, that's really giving me a really nice blend. Like, it's really quite nice and graduated. And here is a little something that I figured out this morning, so that I was a little bit concerned because there was so much color on the end of the nib, but look, it totally goes away. Crazy. And if it's if you're feeling like maybe it's too much, you can always take your paint cloth and just wipe it off. But I'm not seeing any on the end of the nib. It's working really well, I think. And this is, like I said, it's a nice subtle blend. You're having a pretty decent gradation of color. Oh, I just feel like I need to slow down because I'm rushing it, and that's not what I like to do. I like to just take my time. When I take my time, I get such better results, you know? So I had to go to the bank yesterday. Here's a crazy story. So I live in Arizona, right? And it is hot here. It's already, we've had 2 days over 100 in a row. Anyway, oh, look at that. Just do my little back, forth, and look at how pretty that blend is right there. So pretty. Anyway, so I'm driving home from the bank, and down a main street. So if you live here, it's 83rd Avenue. So you know that's a really busy street. So there's a canal that runs through, the saltwater Salt River Canal. Anyway, there's a canal that runs underneath the roads. So I'm passing by the ice arena where like hockey teams play. Not professional, but amateur leagues. Anyway, and I wasn't going very fast. I was maybe 35. Anyway, all of a sudden, a coyote just kind of sauntered across the road. It was so crazy. It was so crazy. And he was just taking his sweet time. Like, whatever. So I'm really liking this, the difference this is making in this kind of artsy background. So if you remember, we did a background, this background we used cracked pistachio and salvaged patina. And we got this really cool base of color. So what we did, if you were not here on Tuesday, is that we painted a background, right? So for this one, I used Distress Oxides and just applied Distress Oxide on my craft mat, and then we blended them. Like we squirted water and we did the smush technique, and then we did some water flicking. Anyway, so we have this really cool kind of a two-tone background. But because we did the smush techniques, we have lots of cool areas of texture, if you can see here and here. And we have those two colors that kind of blended. So now, I had heard about this technique of using this blender tool for the Zig clean colors, and I'm just gonna tell you, I am loving it because it's pretty subtle while we're doing this, while we're painting over the overall background. I'm really digging it. So, if you are watching this, and so I had a giveaway for my business's birthday, and I mailed a bunch of prizes yesterday. But I have a few people who I don't have their address, so I'm waiting for that to for people to get me their addresses so that I can send them out. So anyway, so for this printable, I want to use this technique where I am pulling color with this blender. So I will be using this again. I'm really liking it. And it looks like something like really fun to play with. So I'm kind of just using it as a paintbrush, but you could certainly, I'm pulling color and I'm pulling color straight from the ink pad onto the printable, onto the printed surface. And remember, this is the one that's printed just on cardstock. Hey Carm. Hi Varsha. Hi Kath. I have another one that I've been kind of playing with, a technique that I'm playing with in my head that I want to show you on the one that we printed, the one that we printed on copy paper. So I think that, so Carm, you need to go get one of these. So it's a Zig Clean Color Real Brush, and it is the water base. So I will be getting another one, or 2 or 3, to just kind of have in my stash, because I'm really liking it for blending water-based mediums, but in a kind of a more controlled way. Do you know what I'm saying? Like for sometimes when we use water, it's harder to control how much it's harder to control our blend, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And this is in a more controlled manner. I mean, oftentimes we want our blend to be kind of loosey-goosey. So this little pen gives you an alternative. Do you know what I'm saying? It's so I would get one. I would highly recommend it. And I'm going to be using it in other ways. That's for sure. Look, I want to use it. I want to really, you know me, if I get something new, I want to test it as much as I can in many different ways, with other mediums, with other, you know what I mean, on other substrates. I like to really put it through its paces, you know? So I think I have this A2. I did at least one layer of blending with this A2. Okay, so now, and you see the tip is still clean. Cleaner than my fingers, actually. But do you see that? That's kind of crazy. So I'm going to, you can't really use it for stippling, Sue, because it's a brush tip. Do you see? It's a brush tip. So I wouldn't use it for stippling. But speaking of stippling, so I'm going to cap this. So we did this technique, which I'm telling you, I'm really digging. And then this is the one, oh, everybody get a drink of water or whatever you're drinking this morning. So for this one that I printed on just copy paper, I have a distress marker peacock feathers. So it's different than, you know, these are old school. I don't even know if they make these anymore, but I still have them. So, and you know, a distress marker has both a fine tip and a brush. So I'm going to take the fine tip and I'm going to do some stippling, but pretty light stippling. I feel like that's kind of a fun way to enhance and kind of like take it to the next level from the background that we had created, right? So I had just dug through my markers this morning and I found this peacock feathers that I kind of really dug, because I think this one we only did salvaged patina. Salvaged. Savage. Why do I keep saying savage? Then I found this two-tone, this Tombow twin tone that I have that is certainly more mint, so might work better on this one. But I mean, we can try it and see what happens. And I'm gonna use this right alongside. Do you see? I'm just adding it right over the stippling that we've already done with the peacock feathers. That's just it's just nice to blend a couple of colors, so that I'm kind of digging that. I'll pull it up so you can see what I've done. Let me know what you think. Whoops. This way. There we go. Right? So it's a way of adding some dimension on something that is pretty flat, because remember we just printed on top of our background. So just think about, like, there's so many ways that we can make this grow, right? There's so many ways that we can continue to play with this technique of creating a background. I noticed on the in our private group, and Corbiere-Scott, Let's Get Artsy with Anne Corbiere-Scott. That's why you should join it, because there's so much fun. There's so much fun there. Anyway, in our private group, some people have already started to post their backgrounds and then they print it on top. Seriously, they're so pretty. And the possibilities are endless, right? So you could do color combinations, and you could do, again, you could do monoprinting, right? So you could do monochromatic backgrounds, I should say. But just know that, like I said, the possibilities are endless. You'll be able to, I feel like this has opened this whole new door. I think that it might only work for certain art printables, because it needs to be something that, well, I guess it could work for everything, because we could certainly, and we have done, monochromatic art printables before, right? I just feel like it just adds like this whole new way to play with my art printables. Like, I just love it, you know? So I'm feeling like, so I've done the centers, and that's cool, the center of the flowers, but I have those little circles, and I'm kind of thinking like that might be a fun place to add some visual interest too. And just know, like, I'm in keeping with the monochromatic theme here, but you could certainly, you could come in with some other colors. You could come in with colored pencils. You could come in with, you know, whatever, number one, whatever supplies you have. Number two, whatever, just is kind of speaking to you at the time, right? So I think I'm going to start doing some stippling on the circles also, because I feel like that will add a little bit of, that's going to pop those designs too. And I think by my arm's sticking to this craft mat. By blending the two pens, that's really, it kind of softens it, and it kind of creates its own new blend. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like that is really, it's so pretty, you guys. It's so pretty. I'm just loving it. I'm just loving the blend of these two pens. And would you have ever thunk it? Do you know what I mean? So that's, I'm saying, just dig through your supplies, dig through what you've got, and see, you know, see where it takes you. Right? And then, I mean, and think about how, how we've created all of these different layers of color and texture, and how they're really working well together, and how you can implement all of these things or part of these things in your card making, right? In your, I mean, here's a whole bunch of stuff that you have just sitting in your artsy arsenal in your noggin now, right? All of these ways to enhance your creating, you know? I just think that's the sweet stuff for me. That's the good stuff. When I know that I can grow with something. So like with other techniques that we kind of have been playing with along the way, I'll do it a bunch of times so that I can continue to grow with it, and I can learn more about it. Because doing something just one time, you don't really learn it. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it might be super cool to you, but you need to do it a bunch of times. My friend Lindsay says 10 times. You need to do something 10 times before you really kind of embrace it. It's kind of like spelling words, you know? Remember? We used to have to write our spelling words 10 times. Same thing with this. Play with a new technique a bunch of times, and then see where it takes you. It's going to take you all over the place, and like in such a good way. I'm really digging it. And I'm kind of digging the idea of creating cards with just copy paper and color, right? So we created this background on just a piece of copy paper, and then we ran it through the printer. Well, I did. You saw me do that on Tuesday. And then, like, once it ran through the computer, through the printer, now I'm enhancing it even more and taking it all to the next level. And that, seriously, I'm falling in love with this more and more and more. With a piece of copy paper. How cool is that? Right? And that's not to say that we can't do other things, right? We can't do other things to this printable after I'm done with all the stippling. You can go on and on and on. You could put some glossy accents on here. You could, well, I don't know about glossy accents because that's a pretty heavy product on top of a piece of thin copy paper, so that might not be the best. But you could certainly, you could do it if you mounted this onto a piece of cardstock so it had something with substance behind it. And you could, but you could like do Wink Stella on top of it. How cool would that be? To make it a little bit shimmery. And then once it's mounted, and so you can mat it on something cool, like a cool die cut mat. You can, you could certainly enhance it even more by putting some high supply doodads on top of it. So many things. So many things. So I hope that you will play and, do you know what I mean? Just experiment. Yay, Keels! I know, Wink Stella, that's super fun, isn't it? Like, once you pull those things out, you're like, hello, old friend, how are you? I haven't played with you in a while. We need to hang out some more. And then when you do, you're like, now I remember why you were so cool. Okay, so think about that. So we did 2 techniques, right? We did, well, 3 actually. We painted a background and then we printed on top of it. And then we did 2 techniques today to enhance those prints. For this, we used the Zig Clean Color Rail Brush water-based blender, and we used the Distress ink, the plain Distress ink on top of the Distress Oxide background that we had used, and we enhanced the deep areas where the stippling is. And then this one, we did some stippling in addition to, because I think I didn't do any kind of stippling when I created this. So we did some stippling to enhance this one too. So on this, I was just trying to do just the A2, because on this one, I'm feeling like, what if we did the stippling behind? So this is what I'm thinking. Well, maybe we could do it down here so you can, I'm on the same side. So now I'm feeling like for this one, what if I do my stippling in the background and then the flowers are going to pop, right? So I'm just going to do some stippling, just kind of loose stippling with my distress marker, Peacock Feathers, because we would just want to use all the art supplies, right? So like I said, I don't care if what you have are Crayolas, it doesn't matter. My art printables do not discriminate against any art supplies. They like to play with all of them, right? So I'm kind of digging that, you guys. Look at the difference there. If we deepen the behind, then that like completely recedes. As soon as we started to deepen the color behind the flower becomes comes forward and the background recedes. Look at that. Do you see how like just that? Oh, I think so too, Carm. I think so too. Because it's once you heat set your inkjet print, you're good to go, right? And by painting your background and then drying it completely and then running it through your inkjet. As long as you don't put more water on top, then maybe you don't have to heat set. What do you think? Take a drink. Okay, so I want to show you what I was playing with this morning. I pulled out I had this, do you remember I created this art printable at Christmas? Because it was all Christmas trees. And then Tessa looked at it and she was like, oh, it looks like mountains to me. And I was like, well, hello. I want to make it some mountains. So I took my Queen for the Day ink pad and my clean color brush this morning, and I just pulled up some ink on there, and then I put it in the upper left corner. I applied the color, and then I just pulled it out. See what I'm saying? Look at that blend. So pretty. And then I still had so much ink on here because remember, we don't waste color. I pulled out as much as I could. And now I'm going to play with this a little bit more. Pull some there. Add it there. See what I mean? I want to try it on all the mediums. I want to try a tool and a technique in any way I can so that I learn what it can do. So this is on watercolor paper. So this is, do you see there's a little bit of ink on there, and I'm just wiping it on my paint cloth and now it's gone. So, so here again is another way to use this tool, right? So I'm getting a really nice blend. And you don't have to use the same technique throughout the entire project, right? And you don't have to use all the same line of products. So for this one, I want to pulling that color out again. I want to I wanted to paint the hearts with Queen for a Day. And then I want to do the mountains. I was like, you know what? I really like that hazy look that mountains get sometimes, you know? So, let's blend that out. Pull some of that color over here. Start that. Now I can play. There we go. There we go. So pretty. Because like I said, we don't waste color. So my idea was that I wanted to do the hearts purple. And then I was thinking I wanted to do the mountains. Oh, look at that. So pretty. And now I want to see. So this one appears super dark to me. I wonder if this will work at pulling some color off. Looks like it is. So that's something we need to know too. Is it, remember, if we add more water, we can pull some color off. And I need to know if this works in the same way, and it appears to. So, like I was saying, before I got distracted in my own mind. I know, I do it to myself. Oh, so I wanted to do the hearts with this Queen for the Day. And the reason I picked Queen for the Day is because it is one of the colors. Remember I think, I'm trying to think what we were playing with. Oh, I know, it was my lilacs from Unity stamp. So here's what I'm thinking. I want to do the hearts with Queen for the Day, but I want to do the background with Juniper Mist. And the reason I wanted to do the background with Juniper Mist is, number one, I feel like they'll make that cool, hazy, mountainy look. But I also, what I love about Juniper Mist is it goes on as one color, but if you flick water on it, it kind of turns colors, which is super cool, and Queen for a Day does the same thing. So for the Juniper Mist technique, I want to use a paintbrush and some water and kind of create a watercolor, right? So do you see this is kind of that, look at that pretty blue. So pretty. And I just want to paint all of these mountains. This beautiful, like it already looks like hazy mountains, I think. So I just want to paint out as much of the background as I can and the mountains, because then, and I want to let it dry, and then I want to do the water flicking thing where we remove some water, so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. Because when Juniper Mist, whatever, when Juniper Mist gets water flicked on it, it turns kind of a purpley color. So I'm like, that would just like all go so well together. They will all play so well together. And I know lots of stores carry lots of Catherine Pooler inks. I just like having all the choices. Do you know what I mean? So I know Scraps of Love carries almost all of the Catherine Pooler colors. I know that Susan at Paper Arts in Edmond, excuse me, Edmond, Oklahoma, carries lots of Catherine Pooler, because I've gotten a few from her. This is, don't you love when it kind of works out? And it's, so I'm just doing kind of a sloppy job with my ink, or with my watercolor paint, because I want a little, like I want some little bits and pieces of white to show through, because I want it to have that watery, painterly look. But you can see, do you see how it's already taking on a purpley haze right there? Do you see it? It's so beautiful. I'm telling you, it's so beautiful. It's one of my favorite. Oh, I didn't, let's see. There, we can start to see the purpley haze. Sorry, I was too high. Right? So you can see why Juniper Mist is such a favorite. So I want to come back in. So do you, like on this one, we've already done a couple of techniques too, right? We've done, we've used the blender pen, the Zig blender pen, and we've used the Catherine Pooler like as a watercolor, right? We just smushed it down on our craft mat and added water, and it created watercolor. So pretty. And then once this is done, we can play around with building more color if we want. We can play around with doing the water flick thing. We can, that's just it, you know? We can do whatever we want. I love that. The possibilities are endless. So, Catherine Pooler has lovely colors, but just know you can do this same technique with any water-based medium. So with distress inks, with gelatos, with watercolor pencils, with watercolors, with distress markers, with Tombow markers. You can, anything that is a water-based medium, you can make watercolor with them. So just know that, hi Aunt Mer, the possibilities are endless, and your supplies can have so many uses, so many multiple uses. Okay, let's get a little bit more over here. We'll do that jiggy jaggy blend right here. Right, we want it to be really painterly. So we want lots of highs and lows. Right, so we can dry it. I don't think we have time for any card building today because we're getting all too painty. Okay, so this is almost dry, but I think that even with the you can start to see how that color is made up of other colors. The Juniper Mist and the Queen for a Day is too. So I want you to see, but you can see how this is blues and purples, which I think is super pretty. But now I want to show you the, so let's do we'll do the water flicking thing and just let it sit for a second so you can see the, where it really starts to pull out that other color. That bluer, or excuse me, the purpley color. And it's a cool experiment to see what it pulls out from the purples of the Queen for the Day. So let's put our paint cloth down. Tap, tap, tap. Look at that! It's so pretty! Oh my gosh. Do you see? It's like purpley, pinky. Oh my gosh. I just love it. I just love it. And you could still build more if you wanted. You could build some depth behind, like, behind some of the mountains. We could go back and build up this, right, where we want the mountains to have little bits of want the background to receive, we want some dimension to show. So I'm just going to go on one side of the mountains, but you know, that's just for experiment's sake. You know, you do you. And you'll see that I'm just adding like a line of the darker blue of the juniper sky, juniper mist, sorry. Because then I can come back and do that jiggy jiggy blend out, right? Did I get all of the... I think I did, didn't I? So let's let that dry, and then we'll come back and we'll soften those edges. But do you see how just that has already started to create some dimension, right? Everybody take a drink. And you could certainly do lots of, what do I want to say? You could do some more layers of techniques on this too. You could come in with some mark making. You could come in with a white, or Dr. P.H. Martin's bleed proof white, and do some splatter so it looked like snow on the mountains. This could make a really cool masculine card if you wanted it to. There's just so many cool things that we can do with this. Just think about layering and layering and layering your techniques, you know? I feel like that second, those darker stripes of color with the juniper mist really made it more dimensional. I'm really liking that. But look, isn't this interesting? So this one faded right out. So this one is right down to the purple again. So we could, let's see if we add some more, what happens. Because this is doing, but I'm trying to limit my water. I'm trying to deepen right next to the line and seeing if that continues to build that dimension. There we go. A little bit more. You know what? I don't know that I'm going to try and soften that. I kind of like that it's pretty organic and really creates the exact kind of dimension that I was looking for. Let's see. So, let's recap. So we did a bunch of techniques. We did the subtle blending with the Salvage Patina Distress Ink on top of the Salvage Patina Oxide. But just know, you could do this, if you only had this, you could do this same technique. You could do so many, you can layer and layer and layer with just one color, one kind of ink pad. You don't need to have all of them. I feel the need to have all of them, 'cause I'm a freak. But you don't have to. I just want everybody to know that. So anyway, we did where we just pulled some color directly from the ink pad and did some deepening of our darkest areas, the deep areas, right? I'm really liking that because it's pretty subtle. And then on this one and this was printed on cardstock, regular old cardstock, like that you could get from Walmart. This is just printed on copy paper. And for this one, we created a background with just salvaged patina oxide, where we did the smush technique, where we just squished the ink pad down, squirted it with water, and tapped our paper into it over and over and over again. We painted with it, and then we painted some parts of the background, and then we did the that squish technique, that smush technique on top of that, just creating lots of layers of color and lots of texture. Do you see right here, this is like really super dotted in the color, and then there's a big almost white space right next to it. I love that. I love that. And then to enhance this even more, here we came in with 2 pens and did some stippling. We came in with Distress Peacock Feathers marker and a twin tone, kind of a minty green color. And we started to do some stippling to enhance right here. You see the centers of the flowers? And then, if that weren't enough, we came down to the individual piece of artwork and we stippled the background so that the flower popped right in the center of this little image in the center of the paisley. We did some stippling to fill the background so that that's going to give it an entirely different look, right? So and then we did this card where we this one was on watercolor paper, but I wanted to test the waters, no pun intended, completely. Who are we fooling? I wanted to test the this water-based brush on a different substrate. So I had tested it on plain cardstock, so I wanted to test it on watercolor paper, see what happened. So it did okay. I think that I will continue to play with it and see what else I can figure out about it. But then we also did, so I did the hearts with Queen for a Day, and then we did the background by creating a watercolor with Juniper Mist by just squishing it on the craft mat and then adding water and then painting with that. But then we also, so then we did the water flicking technique on top of this, and then we came in with a more saturated brush with this same color and did the sides of the mountains. So I think you have lots of ideas to go play with now, you know? Lots of cool artsy techniques to fiddle around with, and that's how we learn it, right? That's how we learn it, is by just continuing to fiddle around. And hey, Sonia, how are you? Welcome, welcome, welcome. I think that I will continue to play with the creating a background and then printing on top of it technique. I will continue to play with this clean color and see what else I can, you know, how else I can push it to its limits. And I will continue to play with these Catherine Poolers. They're just a fun alternative, you know? And remember what I said, that you can mix and fiddle around with different products, different mediums, different, like remember I did this the other day. This I created with watercolor. Then I splatted Dr. P.H. Martin's. But then the background, I wanted it to be a really cool contrast. And so I did a background with Dina Wakley's gloss sprays. And so I think I did carnation. Anyway, I will paint this again because I kind of like the juxtaposition of this glossy background with a matte main feature on the card. So I just feel like it's, and I really like the difference of this kind of tealy, aqua, greeny blue next to this almost like a corally pink. I think it looks kind of coralish. Anyway, I hope that you are inspired to go create today. And I hope that you'll join me on Saturday, number 1, for whimsical lettering. You can sign up for that and register on my website. And also watch your social media because there'll be another artsy surprise on Saturday. I adore you all. Remember to watch social media because Let's Get Artsy with Our Bibles will go up today. I need to finish up a couple things and snap some pictures and then post it on the website. So look for that probably this afternoon. I hope everybody is as jazzed to start making some more art as me. Because now I'm like, oh. And I still have this giant stack that I need to make into cards. Look at all of these things that I had planned. All of these cards that I wanted to get made today. Not, well, maybe I will after you guys go. I adore you all. I can hardly wait to make art with you again. Do you remember this one where we did the background and then we put tissue on top of it? How long ago was that? And I still haven't made a card out of it. Anyway, I will work really hard on assembling some things today and writing out some thank you notes and all around having an amazing, tremendous Thursday. I hope that you all do too. I will see you all on Saturday. Thank you so much for joining me. It means the world. It really, really does. If you are brand new here, if you would follow and like Corbiere-Scott Designs, I would greatly appreciate that on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. We have new creative content on all of those platforms as much as we possibly can. And ask to join our private Facebook group, Let's Get Artsy with Corbiere-Scott, because there's always something fun happening there. Talk to you soon. Bye.